Mr. Lamers, could you present item 3.2 on the consent agenda, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair. Staff is requesting that the RTC allow staff to adjust the scope and budget of our consultant contract on our high-speed rail connection study between Dallas, Fort Worth, and Arlington to allow us, as we go into the National Environmental Policy Act process, the federal environmental process, because we will be under a short time frame to get a finding of no significant impact through that process, we would like the ability to be able to get your permission to adjust the scope and budget as needed throughout the process to allow us to respond to various refinement, alignment alternatives that might be necessary. In particular, the reason we're doing this now is we already know that we will have to bring in some tunneling expertise into the discussion as we review potential tunneling options. This slide is simply reminding you of the corridor as you instructed staff to take through the environmental process previously. This is our schedule that we're looking at. As I mentioned, we'll be under a tight time frame. We're just entering that phase 2 process. Once we enter that process formally, we'll have 12 months to complete it. So the reason we need to have the ability to respond quickly when issues arise. This is the action that we are requesting. We're requesting you to allow us to increase the consultant budget, not to exceed 10% of the contract as it exists now, so that we can respond in the National Environmental Policy Act. That increase would be no more than about $1.1 million. Again, it will be as needed. We're not asking to change the contract now, but we'll change it as needed. And that you would direct us to amend any other documents that would be reflected upon this approval. Madam Chair, happy to answer any questions.
I see a question coming from the councilwoman from Dallas.
Thank you. About 2 months ago at this meeting, we had some discussion about Dallas's view on this project. And while we didn't talk about the merit of the entire project, which I do think maybe should be discussed, when you look at slide 1, if you can go back to it, what you're showing is elevated in Dallas. And somehow Arlington is going to have theirs below grade. Fort Worth is going to have it below grade. And I'm just going to tell you, Dallas also wants it below grade. This is an area of significant financial investment. Many of you are aware of the new convention center, which will cost several $billion. We're expecting this to be a walkable area. We don't need trains running through it. And we will not accept trains running through it. I don't know how else to say it. So I asked for this item to be pulled because if you need more than $1.1 million to figure out the engineering so that this can be below grade in Dallas, this is necessary. So I'm happy to amend the dollar amount if you need more. Tunneling expertise is needed. It's a very complicated part of Dallas with lots of utilities underground and other transit. So TRE is running right there. We've got lots of DART trains running there, but it must be below ground. It is not acceptable for this to be a grade. And as somebody who has fought at grade trains in my district, I know this is the place that this has to be expressed and demanded. It can't just be, well, if you can make it work, because guess what? They won't, because it'll be more expensive to be below grade. But it's essential for the city of Dallas that it is, and you need to understand that. The thing that's not on this map that, you know, I haven't been on the RTC, but I'll say 3 years, is the TRE line, which already connects Dallas and Fort Worth just a little bit north. And I know there was an amendment by Councilmember Kleiman, who served on this board, I think, 8 years, that said we will not have a stop in Arlington unless Arlington has had a significant transit investment as a member of a transit agency. That's an amendment that was made to the resolution. And to date, that hasn't happened. How we can still call it a high-speed rail when it's not possible for a train to get to a high speed between Dallas and Arlington and then the next segment of Arlington to Fort Worth, it's not enough miles to actually be high-speed rail. What it's going to be is a slightly faster TRE. But TRE, you've already seen the numbers, has very low ridership. So perhaps if the issue is for Arlington that you have incredible, and you do, amusements, and lots of people want to get there from all over the region, you might need to invest in some shuttles from TRE. But maybe you don't need high-speed rail. Or if you do, maybe the convention center that you're building right at the stop where the TRE is going to be isn't what the priority is. And so I don't understand how we're investing in something that will be to the detriment of Dallas, that will benefit others. And, I mean, we're really getting a bad deal here. So I just want to say it's necessary for there to be a solution where this is below grade for Dallas.
So before we go much further, I want to make sure we stay on the topic that is on the agenda today. So the topic on the agenda today is, it sounds like Dallas is interested in looking at a tunnel option. I've asked for a formal request for a tunnel option for 4 to 6 months from the Hunts, yet to receive it, because they're the ones that I had lunch with, again, 3 weeks ago. Under state law, the most this particular contract can go is 10%. So to request this contract to be amended greater would be in violation of our state law. That would be a different contract. So because you're asking for us to look at a tunnel which would go under the river, this particular item is asking us to go get tunnel experts so we can answer the question, can and how do we get a tunnel under the Trinity River? So hopefully we'll get a request from someone to formally look at it. And if you approve this item, then we can answer your question, how does a tunnel go under the Trinity River? The vote to the Regional Transportation Council is to have a one-seat ride between Fort Worth and Dallas. For a one-seat ride, the city of Dallas, by definition, has a high-speed rail station to Houston that is 7 stories off the ground. You also have recently said that the Amtrak hub will come into Union Station. And you've instructed us, how are we going to get people from the high-speed rail station to the Union Station to interface, which you'll hear about later today, a new Amtrak line that goes from that Union Station to Atlanta. So by your approval today, we can then get the money to get the tunneling experts. So when we get a request from the city of Dallas and or the Hunts to look at a tunnel under the river, we would have the resources to be able to do so. All the other questions you raise have been answered at least one time before, and my suggestion would to be bring back a comprehensive presentation so everyone knows the history of where this body has been and where the other local governments have been on this particular topic, including a recent presentation I gave in the city of Arlington that is in your materials with regard to their request that they don't get a station without participating in a process. So you have 7 or 8 questions. I think they can all be answered. I think they're best answered in a future item. But before you today is a simple request. If we get tunneling questions, can we expand the staff of the engineering firm that has been hired to be able to answer tunneling questions?
Sure.
There we go. So I guess the request, though, is that that first slide, that you change it from blue to red, so that the as they're doing this report, I know you can't push it until I hang up because there's too many. As they're doing this report, they understand what the outcome that we desire is. Because if not, we're going to get that, and that's not going to be okay.
So can someone turn their... I need more turned off. Today, that line doesn't get changed because that's not the agenda on the agenda today. That color gets changed 12 to 13 months from now when the environmental impact study is completed, and the environmental impact study hasn't even started yet. So if the city of Dallas wishes to us to look at a tunnel section, I need communication from the city of Dallas and or the Hunts. And there was a meeting by a Dallas representative, hey, we got concerns, and I said 2 months ago, if you have people that have concerns, invite me to a meeting in Dallas and let me hear their concerns. And to date, I haven't been invited to a meeting in Dallas to hear those concerns. So if the city wishes to have an option that has a tunnel, I respectfully request the city to ask us to review that.